This is the Extra Point Podcast from Arizona's family.
All right, the Final Four is coming to the Valley of the Sun this coming spring, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Mark McClune, Julia Lopez here on the Extra Point Podcast, just talking about who could be in the Final Four. You know, we fill out our brackets every year, J-Lo. I think you know who I'm picking in this one, right?
Longhorns, of course. Yep. And I'll pick the CSU Rams, but that's not going to happen.
Well, you never know. Stranger things have happened. The Diamondbacks are in the playoffs tonight. Who would have thought that? But I appreciate you lining up the next guest because you go way back with our next guest. And it's going to be hard to be objective here. The one, the only Rodney Terry from the University of Texas at Austin, the head men's basketball coach there, zooms in and joins us today. And Coach, how are you doing?
Hey, it's an awesome day, man. I appreciate you guys having me, Mark, Julia. I'm excited about visiting with you guys today.
All right, so tell us your relationship. You guys go way back. So tell me the first time that you ever interacted with Coach here.
Yeah, so Coach Terry was the head coach at Fresno State when I was covering the Bulldogs, and he was there for a long time. He took the Bulldogs to the NCAA tournament. We actually went there to Denver, and that was in 2016. It seems like it was forever ago, but now
it seems like a whole other life. Right?
I know. And now you're at Texas, and you're doing great, and now you have the head coaching gig over there. So huge congrats to you.
Man, I'm blessed, and just living the dream.
Well, I like talking about leadership, and I really enjoyed watching your story unfold last year. And I know it wasn't a straight path to get the job, and you were an assistant there for years and really poured your heart and soul into the program. And then when Chris Beard was no longer the coach, you took over the reins. So what was the biggest change for you moving over that seat to the head coaching job? And how did you kind of get yourself ready to make sure that messaging is important when it comes to leadership, that you could take the reins and lead the team like you did into a deep run in the NCAA tournament?
I think, Mark, the best advice I got from the very outset of everything kind of transpiring was from my former boss here at Texas, Rick Barnes. And, I called Rick, and Rick and I got a chance to talk, and Rick was like, Rodney, just be yourself. Don't try to go over and be Chris Beard. You be Rodney Terry, be the best version of yourself. And I think for me, Mark, I was already kind of coaching. I was coaching the team already in regards to I coached the defense and Chris coached the offense. And so the guys were already, used to me game planning, used to me being in front of them all the time and really coaching them really on that side of the ball. So really in terms of the transition, I think the rest of it was just, our coaching staff, we had to all take on a little bit larger role in terms of what we were asked to do. But having great chemistry with our coaching staff, I think spilled over to having great chemistry with our guys.
Now, Ronnie, you mentioned the defensive side of the ball. That is your bread and butter. I just remember that with Fresno State. It was just so hard to score on you guys. Just how much pride do you take in your defensive, play and what you put into that?
Well, the old cliche is that, defense wins championships. I mean, you hear it all the time, but it really, having a good defensive team gives you a chance to definitely have an opportunity to win a national championship. We were able to win the conference tournament this past year and stuff too. But we were a team that could score. We were a team that could score on offense, and we could defend at a very high level as well. And when you're able to do those and be elite at both of those, then I think you give yourself a chance to win the whole thing. And I thought we definitely put ourselves in position last year to have a chance to win the whole thing because of that.
Well, and when it comes to scoring and when it comes to offense, it's really interesting how the game has changed. And you go over to the Phoenix Suns and you talk to them about the analytics and shooting the three ball. So even just your time at Texas as an assistant, how much have analytics changed the game, and specifically, how much has shooting the three increased over your time there?
Well, I'll tell you what, we had Kevin Durant come in, and that was a really good scoring team. I mean, that team, we averaged over 85 points a game with that team. And we started 4 freshmen and 1 sophomore. And we could score with the best of them. Now, we had one elite scorer in Kevin Durant, but you talk about an efficient guy. I mean, he was, super efficient in college. And we had another really good scorer in A.J. Abrams. But from an analytical side of things, I mean, we spent a lot of time in terms of, really working with our guys on their shooting percentages and challenging those guys to try to be better in some of those areas, whether it's, field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage, but try to shoot a high percentage shot as well in the process.
And Kevin Durant gave the stamp of approval for you to take over Texas. What was it like recruiting him? How did you even find him in D.C.?
You know what? Russell Spreekman was on our staff at the time, and Russell's a D.C. guy, and spent a lot of time working that area in the DMV. And we got on Kevin at an early age. That's one thing we did a really good job of here when I was here previously is we really attacked the young kids in recruiting really hard early. And I think for Kevin, it really paid off for us. We started recruiting him as a freshman. And he was, skinny, about this big right now, but he could really score that basketball. And I think over the course of the time in recruiting him, I think we all got a chance to have great relationships with him. And I think at the end of the day, the relationship part really won out for us in the end.
And could you speak to his work ethic? We've read the things about him waking up at 5 o'clock in high school and doing the workouts, and the goal was to get to the NBA. So he steps on campus as a freshman. I remember. What was that Oklahoma State game? I think would that go to 19 overtimes?
3 overtime, almost 4. Yeah, that was a barn burner right there at their place, no doubt about it.
What was it like working with him as he tried to build himself into the elite NBA player that he is today?
Oh, it was great. You know what? Again, we had a relatively young team. We brought in 7 freshmen in his class, and 4 of those guys got a chance to go on and play in the NBA. But the thing I remember most about working with Kevin, and I challenged all my teams from that point on as a head coach, we know how talented a scorer he was, but Kevin was an incredible teammate. He really tried to deflect a lot of the attention away from himself and really showered on his teammates. I mean, he was a super efficient guy, played all over the floor for us here at Texas. He got challenged at an unbelievable level by Rick Barnes to not only be a scorer but be a defender and really try to guard hard and work on that side of the ball as well. But you just talk about a guy. He's one of those old school guys, and when I say old school in regards to Kevin doesn't care about anything about just getting in the gym, getting better. He'll play against anybody. It doesn't matter. He's just one of those ball guys. He's an old school ball guy, and all he cared about was winning. He wanted to win at the highest level, and I think one of the other things in terms of the trait of being a great teammate, he cheered on and celebrated in his teammates' success at a very high level all the time.
And we've seen him in preseason games this year, and I mean it's just like playing with Jurkic. It's just like, it's like their basketball IQs line up. Can you explain, or just as a basketball coach, take us inside the X's and O's and kind of what it's like to play with him, where he's at his best on the floor, and how the floor, if it's spaced correctly, what his game looks like when it's running at the highest efficiency.
But Kevin's in range when he comes across half court, literally, But he's one of those guys, again, that, Mark, he shoots every shot like a game shot. He came in this summer and previous summer and made sure that our guys got a chance to watch him do his individual work. Every shot's a game shot, at game speed. And when you put that type of preparation, into your craft, that's why he's so efficient. It's why he's one of the best in the world to ever do it. And, he's one of those guys that's also a great teacher as well. He came in and spent a lot of time with our guys and teaching them some nuggets in the game as well. And, but just a kid that just loves it. I said that kid is a grown-up who loves being in the gym right now and just loves the game of basketball at another level.
So when you look at this Phoenix Suns team, they are stacked. Obviously, they have the big 3. They have KD, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Just, do you think it's a natural fit for them to really, have a chance at getting an NBA championship?
I love those guys. I think, in terms of what they bring to the table, I showed our guys a clip today on a defensive possession that they had a couple of nights ago in one of their games. And I know right now they're looked upon as just a scoring team, a team that, has a group of guys that can really score the ball at a high level, but they were really showing how hard they wanted to guard and that it meant something for them on the defensive side of the ball. We showed a defensive clip, not an offensive clip. We showed a defensive clip of those guys really trying to guard hard and taking pride in their defense. But when you talk about, prolific scorers like those guys, they've got 3 of them that can do it at the highest level. I remember seeing Bradley Beal and going over recruiting Bradley Beal, as a sophomore in high school. And, Bradley Bill's an elite scorer and has had a phenomenal career as well, but they're going to be fun to watch play this year.
Did you come close at all to getting Devin Booker to Austin? Were there any conversations there?
You know what? I wasn't a part of any at that time. I think I was going at that time when Devin was playing and being recruited and got a chance to go to Kentucky. But what a career he's had as well and stuff. I mean, John did a great job with him. I mean, he didn't even start at Kentucky. He came off the bench at Kentucky.
And I talked to Kevin Durant with our one-on-one during Suns Media Day, and I asked him, hey, you still keep in contact with Rodney Terry? And he said, oh, yeah, I just got back from Austin. So how often do you guys see each other, and what's the relationship like with you guys?
You know what, last year, Julius, we were making our run. We had so many of those guys feel vested with what we're doing. I mean, got a chance to coach a lot of those guys at the next level, but they were actively involved in showing their support for what we were doing and how we've been doing it here. And, those guys all came back. A lot of them came back this summer. Kevin came back and spent some time here working out with our guys, also working with our strength coach. Corey was the strength and conditioning head coach last year for the Phoenix Suns, and we have him over here with us right now. And he went straight to Corey and got to work out with Corey right off the bat before he even went to the floor. But we stay in close contact. We do, and it's always great to have Kevin back on campus. He's an incredible ambassador for Texas athletics as a whole.
When you see him back there, I think is that a picture back there of him holding the NBA, the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So, what as you look at the NBA here from 30,000 feet, what do you think it will take to get to the championship for the Suns? A lot has to go away. Obviously, you have to be healthy, but is there enough firepower there? And what's their road look like in your opinion?
Well, I think they have leadership that's going to give them a chance to do that. You got a guy that's a proven winner as the head coach. And I think, again, when you have the talent level that they have, I think that the biggest part is the buy-in on the defensive end. Look at Golden State, when they were winning championships and they had big-time scorers on their roster, they were also number one defensive team as well. Everyone looked at their scoring, but the defense with Mark Adams, also a Fresno State guy, really built that Golden State defense over there, and they were the top in the league. So, again, if these guys continue to buy into that defensive side of it, on any given night, they'll be able to take care of business because they can really score the ball at a high clip.
When you look at Kevin Durant, when he's on the court, he just looks so calm. Is he always like that?
He has always been like that. I mean, that guy, I tell you what, from the very first time that we had him on campus in a summer workout, we had some pretty good athletic guys that were trying to guard him at the time. But I remember one workout vividly, one of the first workouts we had in an individual workout, and he didn't miss a shot. I mean, guys were hanging all on him. They were trying to rough him up a little bit, and he made every shot. I called my best friend that day, and I said, oh, my God, this kid we have is going to set the world on fire this year. And I'd say I've never seen a guy that could score the ball as efficient as he could score the basketball.
And you mentioned him being a great ambassador for the school, but obviously, young kids connecting to a guy in the NBA. So when you bring a recruit on campus and you show them the picture of Kevin Durant behind you, how much does that help? I mean, there's a lot to sell at the University of Texas. It's an amazing school. I'm an ambassador as well. But when you bring someone on campus to see Kevin Durant, how much does that sell the program that you can come here and have a career like that?
Well, this day and time, almost everybody that we recruit, to be honest with you, Mark, Kevin's their favorite player. And, he opens so many doors just in one phone call, and obviously we've got a great brand as well. But Kevin Durant playing here and, being the type of player and the career that he had here for the 1 year that he was here and what he's been able to go on and do in the NBA, he's a lot of kids' favorite player, and their interest is peaked at a very high level with the University of Texas because of Kevin Durant.
Who is Kevin Durant as the person? Obviously, you see how good he is on the court. He has a couple NBA championships, very successful, but just who is he like in the core?
Big time dude. I mean, you talk about a guy that just has a great heart, just a good guy. You know what I mean? I mean, you love spending time with him, and he's one of those guys he's always been a very unselfish guy. Kevin's not a selfish guy, man. He's always been a guy that always cares about others and looks out for others at an unbelievable level. But just an incredible human being, alone from being one of the most talented players in the world.
He's 35 right now, and he's still playing at a high clip. And
his Kevin Durant year.
Yeah,
That's his jersey number.
Oh, that's right. I guess that's why I went back to 35 from 7. How long do you think he can keep this up with the way he plays the game?
Well, he's kind of one of those. Kevin's one of those guys that's done a great job of taking care of his body. Recovery's big. I mean, he spent a lot of time in terms of understanding, what a season's going to entail for him, and so he prepares himself like a big time pro. So he's ready for every season. But the way he plays, Kevin can play at a very high level for the next 5 years, to be honest. And he's going to be one of those guys that hits the 30,000 plateau mark or more. And he doesn't have to put a lot of taxing on his body to do it. I mean, he doesn't have to be one of those guys that's high flying all the time. I mean, he's such a skilled elite player that it doesn't take a whole lot for him to put a lot of wear and tear on his body. So I think he can play at an elite level for the next 5 years.
That's awesome. Well, tell us about your team this year. It seems like the roadmap to get back out here, get out here for the Final Four. It's going to go through the Big 12, which I'd argue is the toughest league right now in the country. I've got that Houston game circled. I'm going to try to get back for that Houston game. So what's the personality of the team as you brought in the guys for practices here and you set out on the road to get to Phoenix?
Yeah, no, Mark, we're excited about the last year of the Big 12. The league last year, arguably the best league in college basketball, and really don't look for a drop-off this year in terms of the competition with the addition of the new schools coming into the Big 12 this year from a basketball standpoint. I like my group. We got 4 guys last year that played significant minutes. We have 3 starters back from an Elite 18, 7 guys back total. So it gives us the continuity. We were able to go in the portal and get several guys that'll be impact players for us this year. Max Asmus from Oral Roberts, he was the darling of the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago. Sweet 16 is going to be an impact player for us. Kadrick Cedric will be an impact player for us from Virginia. So we've got some size there. Dessou was playing some of his best basketball a year ago. Is back with us as well. We had Tyrese Hunter and we had Dylan Mitchell, come back from getting a lot of feedback at the next level as well. So we have a good core of guys and a good core of incoming transfer guys that I think will keep us pretty competitive every single night.
And how has just NIL and the transfer portal changed your job? It seems like they're the roster building, the work is never done. So what's your work day and work year look like now in the changing game of college basketball?
Well, Mark, it's an ongoing process. To your point, in terms of recruiting, it never stops. The landscape of college athletics. We're 1 year rosters. You got to manage your roster for that 1 year, and you've got to try to max that roster out in that one season. And from that point on, you've got to rebuild another roster the following year, and along with still recruiting underclass recruiting, you still have your sophomores and your juniors and even a lot of times freshmen that you're eyeing as well in terms of recruiting. So it's really 24/7 this day and time. And I think it's really important you put really good people around you that can go out and really try to attract the best talent, in the country.
In the preseason, AP poll picked you guys to finish 18th, or at least to open up 18th. Just what do you think of that ranking, and does that just fuel you guys a little bit more?
Well, again, I think, rankings at the beginning of the year, obviously they give you great exposure to your program and a level of respect. But at the end of the day, it's you got to come out and you got to play the games, and you have to be prepared for every contest. Every year you got to earn your right and your opportunity to be in the NCAA tournament, and every game is an NCAA tournament game.
If I had told you back in Angleton, Texas, that one day you would be the head coach of the University of Texas, you would have told me what?
I'd say, get out of here, man. You got to be joking, right? But I'm Will Ferrell. I'm living the dream right now.
Gotta ask before we wrap this up. I went to Rodney Terry's house when they were Selection Sunday. He had the whole team over there, and it was a really cool time in 2016. Do you still have those exotic fish and in that fish tank.
Yeah, I tell you what, Julia, I had to get away from the fish, man. I did it for about 10 to 12 years, but the fish were just too much work, and so I had to kind of trend away from the fish a little bit and everything. But I did have, for a good part of time, I had a really good salt water tanks and had really good people that took care of those, but just too much work, so I've kind of trended away from that and everything. But I'd also like to say, Mark and Julia, at some point, if you guys are ever in Austin, you get a chance during the season to come and see us play, you need to come see us play at our new Moody Center. We have an incredible venue on campus that, and Mark, Texas basketball has never had a home court like we have right now. Arguably the loudest place in the country to play, and our student body was incredible this past year.
I can't. I mean, I see it on TV. I can't wait. I mean, I was at, when I was there, the Irwin Center was there. I remember going to my first game as a student and sitting way up in the stands. And I know y'all worked really hard to make it better, but I can't wait. That's definitely on the bucket list. The whole family lives back there. Yeah, we might have to take the show on the road. I did see on your Twitter you got a new pair of boots. What are you wearing them right now?
You got to have boots, man. You know what? This time of year is my favorite boot weather time. I love when it gets cold and you're able to put your boots on, man. But yeah, I've got about six or seven pair of boots at home. Boot guy.
Well, hey, what is we've seen McConaughey on the bench a little bit during basketball season in his orange suit. What is the coolest thing Matthew McConaughey has ever said to you?
Well, you know what? He actually came out last season and talked to our team and gave an incredible, unscripted presentation to our guys. And it was a surprise to our guys. I said, guys, we have a guest speaker. He's going to come and talk to us today after practice. They had no idea who it was going to be. And in walks McConaughey, and he came in and he really, again, it wasn't just him talking the whole time. He got our guys engaged. And he asked each of those guys for their story. And he kind of gave a little snapshot of his story a little bit. And but it was just so real and so genuine. And you can't ask for a guy who is more bought into to Texas athletics than Matthew McConaughey.
Well, this conversation has been fantastic. Thanks for giving us some time here. And if we both don't make it to the Moody Center, I'm going to try this year. How about we see you out here in April, maybe out in Glendale?
Well, we love to do that. That's the plan. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Julia. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS 5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.